internal jugular vein. Comma, vagus nerve, cut fractures of C6 vertebrae. C6 vertebrae. However, the spinal cord cricoid cartilage. Cricoid is C-R-I-C-O-I-D. Cricoid cartilage, comma, hyoid bone. Hyoid is H-Y-O-I-D. Hyoid bone, comma, and common carotid artery was intact. Common carotid is C-A-R-O-T-I-D. Carotid artery was intact. The airway was clogged with frothy blood.
Clogged with what?
The airway was clogged with frothy, F-R-O-T-H-Y, frothy blood. The above description were consistent with deep cut wounds. The conclusion of the doctor, my lord, was in respect of the cause of death, and the cause of death was hypovolemic shock due to deep cut injuries to the neck. Hypovolemic shock due to deep cut injuries to the neck. This report, my lord, was signed by Dr. Katongole Abdul and dated the 2nd of April 2026. And it is under postmortem report number 1102 of 2026.
Is that all for this report?
This report, my lord, also bears a stamp of Kampala Capital City Mortuary Police. That's all for this report, my lord.
Okay, let her interpret in the Luganda language.
Kwebyo byebakanyizaako okuleeta mu kooti baluwa bombi kuliko postmortem oba ebbaluwa abasawo ze baakebererako abaana abo. Eyasooka yali ya Etiku Gideon era postmortem enamba baagiwa 1102/2026 nti emirambo baagitwala mu mochari Mulago era ono Etiku Gideon baamukebera nga 2/4/2026 era yamukebera omusawo bamuyita Katongole Abdul. Etiku Gideon nti yali mwana mulenzi nga yali mu nasare oba preschool nti bwe bamukebera yali alina amannyo 21 ng'alina 11 waggulu 10 wansi nti omulambo gwali gunyogoga nga gupeeruse nti bwe baamukebera ne basanga yali alina ekiwundu bali bamusaze ku bulago. Ekiwundu kyali kiwanvu nga kyenkana sentimita 17 nti era bwe baayongera okukebera ne basanga nti bwe baamufumita airway oba awayita empewo gye tussa mwalimu omusaayi nga gwesibidde omwo era n'akomekereza ng'agamba nti omwana ono kyamuviirako okufa yavaamu omusaayi mungi olw'ensonga nti baali bamusaze obulago. Omusaayi oyo yasayininga n'ateekako sitampu ya mulago. Wakyali.
The second piece of agreed evidence, my lord, is also police form 48B, a postmortem report. This is postmortem report number 1103 of 2026. It is it is under CRB 026 of 2026, and it is in respect of Agenworth. Agenworth is AGENORWOTH. Agenworth Kisha Otim. This examination was done on the 2nd of April 2026. Agenworth was found to be a female juvenile of preschool age.
Yes, proceed.
Okay. The body was found to be cold. It had primary flaccidity. She had 12 teeth and her jaw was intact. The body was also found to be pale. Evidence of trauma. There was a 9-centimeter long open wound. On the right side of the neck at 67 centimeters from the right heel. And 1 centimeter from the anterior midline.
From the anterior?
1 centimeter from the anterior midline. This wound was longer than it was deep. The wound was characterized by smooth edges, regular margins, but there were no marginal contusion, no bridging fibers. The wound was deep. The wound was deep, transecting through the skin underlying neck muscles, comma, the trachea, comma, esophagus, major neck vessels and nerves. There were cut fractures of the C5 vertebrae. Cut fractures of the C5 vertebrae. Rupture. There was a rupture of the intervertebral disc. Intervertebral disc and transection of the spinal cord. The doctor noted that these findings were consistent with deep cut wounds. The doctor's conclusion was that the cause of death was hypovolemic shock, following deep cut wound to the neck. My Lord, this postmortem report is signed by Dr. Katongole Abdul on the 2nd of April 2026. It also bears a stamp of Kampala Capital City Authority City Mortuary Police.
Ekiwandiiko ekyokubiri era nayo postmortem oba ebbaluwa omusawo gye yawandiika ng'amaze okwekebeja omulambo gwa Keisha Agenworth Otim ng'ennaku z'omwezi 2 ogwokuna 2026 era omusawo y'omu Dr. Katongole Abdul bwe yakebera omwana ono yali mwana omuwala nga yalina emyaka egy'okubeera mu nasale era nti omulambo gwali gunyogoga nga guteeruse ono yali alina amaanyi 12 nti naye baamufumita mu bulago era ekiwundu kyali kyenkana sentimita 9 nti baamukebera bwe yamukebera n'asanga nti bwe baamufumita nnyo nga kye baamufumisa kyayingira mu mubiri nekikwata ku misuwa egisinga egy'obulago era n'agamba nti ekyamuviirako okufa yavaamu omusaayi mungi olw'ekiwundu kye yatuusibwako ku bulago n'amala n'asayininga n'ateekako sitampu y'eddwaliro oba mochari.
My Lord, the third piece of agreed evidence is also a postmortem report, Police Form 48B. My Lord, this is postmortem number 1101 of 2026. This, my Lord, is postmortem is in respect of Seryange Ignatius, who is a male juvenile of preschool age. This postmortem was conducted by Dr. Katongole Abdul on the 2nd of April 2026. The doctor found the body of Seriange to be cold and with primary flaccidity. And it was severely pale. Evidence of trauma. There was a 14-centimeter long open wound on the right side of the neck, which was longer than it was deep. This wound was located at 69 centimeters from the right heel. (69, my lord). 69 centimeters from the right heel and 4 centimeters from the anterior midline. The wound was characterized by smooth edges and regular margins. The wound extended to the back of the neck in a horizontal plane. In a horizontal plane, my lord. The wound was deep, transecting through the skin fascia. Fascia, my lord, is FASCIA. And underlying neck muscles, comma, injuring the internal jugular vein, comma, vagus nerve and branches of the subclavian artery. Subclavian, my lord, is SUBCLAVIAN. Subclavian artery and vertebral artery.
Please spell that again.
SUBCLAVIAN.
Okay.
Subclavian, of the subclavian artery and vertebral artery in the neck. The doctor found that the above descriptions were consistent with deep cut injuries. The doctor also found that there was another 4-centimeter long cut wound. There was another 4-centimeter long cut wound located on the right submandibular region Submandibular, my lord, is SUBMANDIBULAR. Submandibular region at just 3 centimeters above the deep cut wound described above. This wound was only superficial, involving the skin and the superficial fascia. The cause of death was hypervolemic shock following deep cut injuries to the neck. This report, my lord, was signed by Dr. Katongole Abdul on the 2nd day of April 2026. It also bears a stamp of Kampala Capital City Mortuary Police.
Ekiwandiiko ekyokusatu kye bakaanyizaako ye postmortem oba ebbaluwa gye bakebererako Seruyange Ignatius no bagiwa enamba 1101 Kashyale 226. Seruyange Ignatius yali mwana mulenzi nga muto nga yali atuuse okugenda mu ssomero lya Nasale. Omusawo yamukebera bamuyita Katongole Abdul era yamukebera nga nnaku z'omwezi 2 Ogwokuna 2026. Omulambo gwali gunyogoze era nga apeeruse nnyo nti bwe yamukebera n'asanga yali alina ekiwundu ekya sentimita 14 mu bulago nti ate ekiwundu ekyo yafumitira ddala n'atuuka mu mabega w'obulago nti yafumita yasala emisuwa egisinga egikwata ku bulago nti era n'alaba n'akawundu akalala akali ka centimeters 4 akali kumpi n'ekiwundu ekyo ekinene nti ekyamuviirako okufa yavaamu omusaayi mungi olw'ekiwundu ekyali mu bulago n'asayininga n'ateekako stampu ya mochari.
The fourth and final piece of agreed evidence, my lord, is also police form 48B, a postmortem report, and it is number 1104 of 2026. Under Police CRB 026 of 2026 Gaba Police Station. This postmortem, my lord, is in respect of Odeke Ryan, a male juvenile of preschool age. This examination, my lord, was done by Dr. Katongole Abdul on 2nd April 2026. At the time of the postmortem, the body of Odeke was cold. Evidence of trauma, my lord. There was a 9-centimeter long deep cut wound located on the right side of the neck
Let him sit outside. You'll be able to.
There was a 9-centimeter long deep cut wound located on the right side of the neck in an oblique fashion at 60 centimeters from the right heel stretching from the anterior midline. This wound was found to be longer than it was deep. The wound was characterized by smooth edges, regular margins, no marginal contusions, nor branching fibers. It was a deep cut wound dissecting through the underlying neck muscles, neck vessels, trachea, TRACHES, esophagus, cut fractures of C4 vertebrae, and transection of the spinal cord. The cause of death, my lord, was hypovolemic shock. Following deep cut injuries to the right side of the neck. This postmortem report, my lord, was signed by Dr. Katongole Abdul on 2nd April 2026, and it bears the stamp of Kampala Capital City Authority, City Mortuary Police.
Ekipapula ekyokuna nayo postmortem report oba ebbaluwa omusawo gwe bayita Dr. Katongole Abdul gwe yakebererako omulambo gwa Odeke Ryan era n'agiwa enamba 1104 Kasale 2026 n'agamba nti Odeke Ryan yali mulenzi nga yali muto ng'atuuse kugenda mu nasale n'asanga nti omulambo gwali gunyogoze. Bwe yamukebera n'asanga nti yali alina ekiwundu ekyenkana sentimita 9 mu bulago, nti ekiwundu kino kyali baali basaze emisuwa egisinga egikwata mu bulago, nti era kyamuviirako okufa. Yavaamu omusaayi mungi olw'ekiwundu ekyo. Yasayininga n'ateekako sitampu ya mochari.
My Lord, we pray to tender the postmortem reports as prosecution exhibits.
We have no objection, my Lord. Yes, this where you say you have no objection. I want you to first confirm that as the facts have been read is what you agreed upon.
My Lord, the facts as read by the Chief State Attorney is what we have agreed upon. And therefore we have no objection.
Did you discuss the same with your client? The details of the postmortem report?
My Lord, we did discuss about the postmortem report with our client.
Mr. Okello, you can remain seated, just speak through the microphone. Did your lawyers discuss with you the contents of the postmortem reports that have been agreed upon?
Yes, my Lord. My lawyers discussed with me the contents of the postmortem report.
Okay.
A good afternoon, our viewers, those ones who are watching Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. As I told you from the start, that we are coming to you from Ghana Early Childhood Development Center, where there is a special session or a mobile court sitting for the trial of Mr. Okello Christopher, who is alleged like charges. He had to take plea answering to the charges which were put against him. The charges there are 4 counts, or you can call them charges. That is under section 171 and section 172. 172 the Penal Code Act, chapter 128 of Uganda. So the suspect is charged with the murder of Eteku Dion, then with the murder of Keisha Ate, then with the murder of Selunjoji Ignatius, then the murder of Odek Ryan. Those are the infants who were murdered on 2nd April 2026 at the place just a few meters from where the school is, where the incident happened. For those ones who joined us later, known at the start, the prosecutor in this case is Mwaganya, and that is the lady who was reading the agreed facts between the parties. If I can take you back to what I was saying, that is Chief State Anthony and Kiza, she was reading the agreed facts. Those are the issues or the facts both parties agreed upon, that they are not disputing, both the prosecution and the defense, they are not disputing about that evidence that these kids were murdered, or that were taking us through the post report that is being according to the postmortem report, which was done by City Mortuary, which was done at City Mortuary, Mulago, that was on 2nd April, it shows that all the 4 kids were murdered, and they were murdered. According to the report, it shows that they had wounds, all of them are 4, on their necks. So they had deep cut wounds, all their necks. Then they had regular margins of those wounds. Those wounds had smooth edges on those bodies. As I said, that the wounds were large and deep. So they call large and deep. So there is that difference. Then they are saying that they were cut in the neck, all of them. So this is what was in the post-mortem report. Those are the facts of both parties, where both parties are agreeing that happened. So even if they are presenting it to court, there is no way defense will say that they're not agreeing to that, because according to what is on court record, they have confirmed that they agreed that evidence can be tendered in court. And after reading the post-mortem report, Madam Kiza said Chief Justice to allow the report to be tendered in court as prosecution, because both sides don't disagree with the fact in that post-mortem report. The report was at City Mortuary Murago, and the person who did the post-mortem was Katole. Yes, he confirmed that these children were cut, but he did not say that those children were murdered. Mr. Okello Christopher, no, he did not confirm that, but he said that they were cut. They are saying even their bodies were very cold. There is a language they have used in court that it was like, can I say that they were stressed because of the cutting and because the bodies were very cold after the cutting and sort of. So right now we are waiting for Judge Alice Komuhanji Kauka to tell us whether he has allowed the evidence of the post-mortem report to be put on court record as prosecution evidence about the murders of these 4 children. So on the defense side, I can tell you the defense, the accused, when they read the charges against him, he said that he's not guilty of the charges which have been against him. And what I can tell you, the audience was not happy because they expected him to say that I committed the offenses. But for the starters, as I told you, it's not a matter of saying that I did not commit or I committed the offenses. It is the discretion of the person they are accusing. He can say that it's okay, I committed the offenses, or that person can say I did not commit the offenses. Like I told you, right now, Mr. Okello Christopher said that he did not commit the offenses. The audience was not happy because, as I told you, that we have residents from Gaba and other religious leaders and everyone live the section is I told you the tent is like a 300 seat, I think, but it is full of city and some people are even standing. The security is very tight. So let me take you back to what Mr. Okello said. We're reading one by one. They're reading charges one by one for the 4 infants who were murdered, and for the first charge, when they read, he was like, let me first ask my lawyers in what to. Maybe he was just confirming. Maybe he can say guilty or not. But I think according to him, they already talked to him. They asked him, it's okay with the lawyers which we are holding, they are provided by the government to help him be his lawyers. Then he was like, it's okay, these are my lawyers. So when he talked to him afterwards, he said, I'm not guilty with the charge which was read against him. So they read the first charge. I told you the first charge was a Tiku Gideon. He said he's not guilty. Still with Kesha Atim, he said he's not guilty. Selunjoji Ignitia, still he said he's not guilty. Odeke Adrian still he said he's not guilty of all the offences. Right now what we are waiting for it is court to put the postmortem will proceed. Then from there the prosecution will tell court what will be the next thing, maybe to bring the witnesses to start the hearing of the case. Because here right now that they have hearing of it, since they are even tendering in evidence from the prosecution. First one did not start with talking about murder. What are the ingredients that make the murder? What are those ingredients? Court has to look at it can find someone guilty. It is not a matter of saying that someone murdered someone, but court has to confirm murdered someone. So I'm going to take you through the ingredients. If you're talking about the ingredients, Court Read 171 and 172 of the Penal Code Act, Chapter 128. Some of the ingredients of murder include the following: death of a human being. If you're talking about murder, we are supposed to know that if it is a murder, it's supposed to be a human being, not something else. So it means if Mr. Okello is to be found guilty, they are supposed to confirm that he murdered a human being, and he's supposed to defend himself if at all he has defense. If at all he decides to keep quiet, he will decide to keep quiet. That will be another thing. Then another ingredient is unlawful killing. That killing he did, because remember, under the Constitution is what they call murdering, where they are you are sentenced to be executed or to be murdered by a court of competent jurisdiction. That is when they can sentence you to murder. That is lawful killing. But if at all it is not that, there is no way someone can kill, and it is not allowed under the Constitution and even under the Penal Code Act. That is Section 172, which talks about the sentence, and even 171, which talks about someone not taking someone's life. So there is no any way someone can take someone's life. Then about the lawful killing, checking under Article 22 of the Constitution, it talks about that no one has a right to take someone's life unless otherwise that person has been sentenced by a court of competent jurisdiction to be executed in one way or the other. So, as I said, that the prosecution must prove that there was unlawful killing, not the killing of lawful killing of under Section 22, under Section 20 of the Constitution. Then there is a malice aforethought, that the person who killed the person, or that if at all Mr. Okello is to be found guilty, there is supposed to be a malice aforethought, the intention to cause the death of these infants. Was there the intention? Prosecution has to prove that before they find Mr. Okello guilty. They are supposed to be causation, that the cause that the accused caused the death of these infants. If at all they are just alleging, they have to confirm to court with bringing evidence that the accused is the person who caused the death of these infants. Then another thing I talked about for the starters who started with us, I talked about participation, that they have to confirm that Mr. Okello participated in the murder of these kids, not just a matter of saying that it is Mr. Okello who killed and everyone saw him at the scene of crime when he was murdering, or even the teachers saw him murdering, but they're supposed to put the suspect at the scene of crime for court to find him guilty. And in any case, when prosecution fails to place the accused at the scene of crime, there is no way that case can stand. And if at all prosecution fails to prove all the four ingredients I've talked about, court cannot. Judge Alice Komhand Kauka will be able to acquit the suspect, because prosecution has failed to prove all the ingredients which are required. All the four ingredients, they are supposed to be proved by the prosecution in one way or the other. Maybe what I can tell you, I talked about the post-mortem report. The postmortem report still court is just putting it on record, but it has not yet confirmed that this is what happened. The agreement, I've talked about what's in between the prosecution and the defense, but court still has to go further to go through evidence to see is it really what happened, that these kids were murdered, and if at all they are murdered with the wounds they are talking about, they have to show training, to show the doctor's report. If at all the doctor is not called to clarify anything, because they have agreed, I don't think he will come here, they have agreed that the report is very okay. They are all parties are agreeing about the postmortem report. There is no way I think the doctor will not be called to do what? To testify on that. I think among the witnesses we are expecting in this matter, those include the parents of these infants, and even those include the people who were teachers when the so that the people we expect. For those ones who are not here when we are starting, I said that according to the report, according to the indictment, it's like the detailed story of what happened from the onset up to when this Miss Okello was arrested. It shows that according to the indictment, it shows that Mr. Christopher Okello is mentally okay. That is the report from the hospital, that he is mentally okay. It is according to the prosecution. They allege that he is mentally okay to stand the trial, and they are saying that before this thing, murdered the infants, he planned the murdering. Because they are alleging he visited school, then he came back, the murdering, and admission late registered it, and so of that what it is not yet confirmed. It is not record. It is just the indictment showing so that Mr. Okello planned the murder before he came at Childhood Development Center on 2nd April 2025. In this case, we don't need interpreters, because the person who is accused is good in English. The judge was talking to him directly as he was responding, and right now what I can tell you, he has been given the report to go through, because he's just seated. I think he was standing and he requested to sit. Is you can see on your screen. Like it is right, not only where the mobile is, it is before you have to check you thorough, and you have to through the walkthroughs they provide, not just move anyhow at the scene. Then another thing is about for those ones who don't know the place where this mobile court is located. It's like you are heading to Gaba Learning Site. That's what it is in Pala district. So this side, after school, from Gaba Development Center, where the tragedy happened, it's just at the pitch of that school, just down. That is where the court is taking place. Those ones who did not start with us, if I take you back, the judge who is presiding over the case is Justice Judge Alice Kumhankau. Like I said, he's waiting for anything which will come from both sides. That is when he will give a verdict for in this matter. There are some lawyers who are holding, they are not holding brief, they are just watching. They are private advocates who are just observing whatever is taking place. They are seated at the bar, they are just watching, they are not submitting anything. The law allows them that if they want to observe how the proceedings are moving, or everything, how everything is unveiling in that court, they can sit in court at the bar and they listen in whatever is taking place. with all that said, prosecution is to produce evidence. That is all. If they don't produce evidence, don't be surprised when they don't find Mr. Okello guilty. Prosecution has to prove all the four ingredients I've talked about: and malice aforethought, causation, participation of the accused. All the four ingredients are supposed to be proved by the prosecution. If at all they fail on one of the four, Mr. Okello will be acquitted in one way or the other, and we have nothing to do because they've used the right means of using it. If at all they don't find him guilty, it means he will just be acquitted, and that will be all. But prosecution still has that chance to do what? To appeal the decision of court in 14 days if at all they acquit. There's punishments under the Penal Code Act, which talks, that is under section 172. It talks about that if someone murders someone, that person can be sentenced to death. But if you address yourself, for those ones who study law, if you address yourself to the case of Susan Chigula, among others, you may see that the death penalty was ruled against by the Constitutional Court in regarding to putting someone or executing someone. In Susan Chigula's case and 140 others, it was Supreme Court gave a decision on that that they have to. If someone murdered someone, it was thing the court this person can. And maybe take you through. This is the first kind of the Mumbai court. This is the first of its kind in Uganda to be held, and even at the scene of crime, because as I told you, the place is just near, just a few meters from where the trial happened. It is the first court ever to be held in Uganda when they are trying someone at the very place where that person committed the offense. I told you the audience is full to capacity. Those are the residents of Gaba and Apple. Just before the session, in prayer from pastor of the school. Yes, we have the opening prayer, and even what I can say, people are very eager. The screens are here. If I can take you through a picture with you, the screens are available at every corner of that time. People are getting everything. The speakers are well placed, that they are clear, that no one can say that I did not hear anything. Even media is here from all other media stations, including UBC, where we are giving voice unveiling at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center. As I told you that under section 172 of the Penal Code Act, Cap 128, talks about sentencing someone who has committed the offense of murder. That person can be sentenced to death. But there are other sentences where a court can decide to say maybe life imprisonment or life in prison. The two are different. There is life imprisonment and life in prison. The two are different. Court can decide otherwise, or court can decide to yes, as it may deem fit for you to be in prison. Maybe some time
expedite the trial without having to call the witnesses. So in this case, your lawyers and the prosecution agreed to the evidence of the post-mortem reports. So I am supposed to explain to you as court what those reports reveal, but I also have to tell you that these reports do not implicate you as the one who committed the offense. The reports only reveal the nature of injuries on the deceased persons and also the cause of death. They do not implicate you. So I want you to listen carefully, because after this process I'm supposed to come up with a memorandum of agreed facts which all of us are supposed to sign. So I want you to listen carefully. You'll sign, your lawyers will sign, the prosecutors will sign, and I will also sign. And then they will form part of the record of proceedings. Okay? Yeah. So we have 4 children who are said to have been killed, and there is a doctor who performed a postmortem examination on each one of them, or on all of them. And that doctor is called Dr. Katongole Abdul. Okay? So he examined all the 4 children and came up with the reports. So those reports, I have admitted them as prosecution exhibits. Okay? The first report is in respect of a child called Okello Gideon, and it was done by, the examination was done by Dr. Katongole Abdul on the 2nd of April 2026. Okay? I want you to listen carefully. And he said when he received this body, it was of a male preschool child of a black race. On evidence of trauma, there was a 14-centimeter long open wound on the right side of the neck, which was located at 66 centimeters from the right heel and the nape of the neck. It was long than it was deep. It was also characterized by smooth edge, regular margins, no bridging fibers, marginal contusion, no contusion of the underlying soft tissues. But the wound was deep. It was transecting through the esophagus, the trachea, the internal jugular vein, the vagus nerve, cut fractures of C6 vertebrae. However, the spinal cord of this body, it was intact. Then he said that the cause of, and she was found to be a female preschool child, and she was of black race. The evidence of trauma, this child that she had, the body of this child had a 9-centimeter long open wound, and it was on the right side of the neck at 65 centimeters from the right heel and 1 centimeter from the anterior midline, and it was longer than it was deep. The wound was longer, the length was bigger or more than the depth of the wound. But this wound was also characterized by smooth edges, regular margins, and no marginal contusion, no bridging fibers. The cause of death for this child was also the same, hypovolemic shock following deep cut wound to the neck. So the doctor is saying that this child was cut deeply in the neck, and as a result, she died. Have you understood that?
Yes, my lord.
Okay. So I have also admitted this postmortem report, and I have marked it PEX2. That means prosecution exhibit number 2. And the other report is in respect of another child. He's called Seriange Ignatius, and he's also a male child is a male preschool child. She is of black race, and it was the same doctor who examined his body as well, and that is Dr. Katongole Abdul. He found that this child had evidence of trauma or injury, that there was a 14 centimeter long open wound on the right side of the neck, which was longer than it was deep. This wound was also longer. The length was bigger than the depth. And the wound was characterized by smooth edges and regular margins. There were no marginal contusions, bridging fibers, no contusions of the underlying tissues. The wound was also deep, and it was transecting through the skin and the underlying neck muscles. And he said also the cause of death for this child was also hypovolemic shock following deep cut injuries to the neck. So this child also had been cut on the neck, and the cuts were deep, and that's why he died. That is, I have also admitted this report, and I have marked it prosecution exhibit number 3. Mr. Okello, have you understood this?
Yes, my lord.
You've understood?
I have understood, yes, my lord.
Okay. The last one is also a postmortem report, and this one was, the examination was done on a child called Okello Ryan. He was found to be a male preschool child. He's of black race. The wounds on him, or the injuries on him, were 9 centimeter deep cut wound located on the right side of the neck in the oblique fashion at 60 centimeter from the right heel, stretching from the anterior midline. It was also longer than it was deep, and the wound was characterized by smooth edges, regular margins, no marginal contusions, no branching or bridging of fibers. It was deep, dissecting through the underlying neck muscles, neck vessels, and the cause of death for this child, Ryan or Deke, was also found to be hypovolemic shock following deep cut injuries to the right side of the neck. So the long and short of this is that this child was cut in the neck, and the cut was deep, and as a result of that, he